All right, let's get into it. Today, we are blasting off to the Red Planet because something was found there that has the internet going absolutely wild and has scientists in a pretty heated debate. We're talking about these weird, egg-looking things on Mars that, depending on who you ask, could literally rewrite everything we know.
And to kick things off, let's just start with the most mind-bending theory out there. It's this idea that asks a huge question. What if we're not from Earth? Seriously, what if our real home is Mars, and we are all just the descendants of an ancient Martian civilization that had to flee a dying planet? It's a massive, massive claim, I know. So let's look at what sparked it.
So our story starts right here. Picture this, it's August 15th, 2025. NASA's legendary Curiosity rover, this incredible car-sized science lab on wheels, is slowly making its way up the Gides Vallis Ridge on Mount Sharp. This thing has been our eyes and ears on Mars for years, right? But on this particular day, it sent back pictures of something that shouldn't have been there.
So what exactly did Curiosity see? Well, you know that desolate, rocky, red landscape we always see in pictures from Mars? In the middle of all that, it photographed something that looked completely and utterly out of place, and it immediately grabbed the attention of pretty much everyone on Earth.
The images showed these formations, but they weren't like the other jagged rocks. These were smooth, they were almost perfectly round, and they were all grouped together in these little clusters. Their shape was so striking, so biological looking, that people online immediately gave them a nickname, Dinosaur eggs.
And you know, this discovery, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It plays right into this much bigger and honestly much more exciting idea. The idea that Mars wasn't always a dead planet. That it was once filled with life and maybe, just maybe, intelligent life.
I mean, these eggs are just the latest in a really long line of strange things we've spotted on Mars. Over the years, people have claimed the rovers have photographed everything from different kinds of fossilized eggs to what look like actual carved statues, and even what seems to be a perfectly cut doorway into a rock face. So for people who believe in ancient Martian life, they're saying, see, it's a pattern.
But here's where it gets really interesting, because Curiosity didn't just take pictures. It has this laser on it called the ChemCam, and it zapped these things to see what they were made of. And the results? They were packed with calcium and sulfur. And here's the kicker. On Earth, the outer shell of an egg is made almost entirely of a calcium compound. That similarity was shocking, and it just poured gasoline on the fire.
And all that speculation has led to some truly epic theories. I mean, check out this quote. This is probably the most extreme version of the idea, that these aren't just any old dinosaur eggs. No, these are relics from an advanced civilization of intelligent predators who saw their planet dying, built spaceships, and booked it to the nearest habitable planet, Earth, and that we are them.
Okay. But of course, there's another side to this story. As these wild theories about our Martian ancestors were blowing up online, NASA stepped in with a much more, down-to-earth explanation. One that's based not in biology, but in geology.
The key word from NASA is concretions. Now, it sounds super complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Billions of years ago, Mars had water, and as that water trickled through all the porous rock, it carried dissolved minerals with it. And over a very, very long time, those minerals slowly clumped together and hardened into these round, compact shapes. So, NASA's official position is crystal clear. These are not eggs. They're a completely natural rock formation. They're a cool piece of evidence that tells us about Mars's ancient watery past, and they've been shaped by billions of years of wind and erosion.
So here we are, right at the heart of it. You have two totally competing stories. On one side, you've got this explosive idea of fossilized eggs, a lost civilization, and maybe a history that NASA is hiding. And on the other, you have the scientific explanation of mineral concretions and a record of Mars's wet past. So why are so many people not buying the official story?
Well, to understand why people are so skeptical, you really have to look at the history. For a lot of folks, this isn't just one weird discovery. They see it as the latest chapter in a decades-long story of NASA finding potential signs of life, only to turn around and explain them away.
This whole thing feels like déjà vu for a lot of people. I mean, way back in '76, the Viking lander found activity in the soil that at first seemed like life, but then it was dismissed as just a chemical reaction. In '96, NASA held a press conference about possible microfossils in a Martian meteorite, then mostly silence.
In 2012, Curiosity found organic molecules, a key indicator for life, but it never became a huge major follow-up. And now, in 2025, we get these eggs, and almost immediately the official explanation is erosion. You can kind of see why some people feel like it's the same old story.
And that brings us to the real heart of the conspiracy. Is this whole history just a series of unfortunate scientific coincidences where exciting finds just don't pan out under more scrutiny? Or is it evidence of a cover-up, a deliberate effort to hide what would be the single greatest discovery in all of human history?
So, how do we break the cycle? How do we stop this back and forth of discovery and doubt and just get a final, definitive answer on whether there was ever life on Mars? Well, the good news is scientists have a plan.
Here's the thing. There's only so much our amazing rovers can do from millions of miles away. They're incredible remote laboratories, but they have their limits. To really, truly know what these formations are, to look for tiny, microscopic signs of life, we have to get our hands on them. We have to bring a piece of Mars back home.
And that is exactly what the incredibly ambitious Mars Sample Return mission is all about. It's a multi-part plan. First, rovers like Perseverance are already on Mars, collecting and storing the most interesting rock samples they can find. Then, a whole other mission will go to Mars, pick up those samples, and launch them back into space. And finally, a capsule will bring them back to Earth where we can analyze them in our most advanced labs.
The Mars Sample Return mission, which is slated for sometime in the 2030s, is honestly our best shot at solving this mystery for good. And it's not our only hope either. The European Space Agency has its own rover, ExoMars, and its whole mission is to drill deep down beneath the surface where any evidence of life would be protected from all that harsh radiation. These missions are where we're placing all our bets. So in the end, we're left with this incredible question. Are these strange objects just a beautiful, fascinating trick of geology, a record of a world that once had water? Or are they something more, the fossilized remains of a lost world? Either answer is absolutely profound. One tells us about the amazing history of another planet, and the other would change everything we think we know about life, the universe, and our own place in it. For now, that answer is still waiting for us, buried in the red sands of Mars.